Today we have a problem in the practical session, and the problem I can write over here for betterment to understand what does it mean of today's problem. See, today we will implement, and that is we can say the implementation of k means clustering algorithm in machine learning. And there's no need to explain more detail about what is mean by the clustering and what is mean by the k-means algorithm. So this part we have already covered into the our theoretical session. So today we will implement that how to implement the k-means algorithm and of course following by the clustering. For this implementation, I will use a data set. So I mentioned over here, and you can utilize each and everything properly. Let me write something over here in more better way so that you can utilize properly. And I have also shared the actual code of the other part from the previous class. So you can utilize the previous concept based share code from the Google Classroom properly. Now let me just explain the step by step. So we are looking for the implementation of the k-means clustering algorithm in machine learning. So we are trying to import some libraries. So what we are trying to import, we are importing some libraries. And okay, what are these libraries? Of course, as we know, these are the very simple library, NumPy and Pandas library. And with this Pandas library, of course, what you will do, you will try to read some data set. So same steps I'm just following as we have done in the previous practical sessions. We are importing the NumPy library and we are importing the Pandas library. And with help of the Pandas library, we will try to read some information over here. So I have a data set that is the k-means.csv, and what does it contain? I will tell you, no problem. And just let me execute this code, then you will be able to understand. See, after reading this data set, what are the important attributes of column is contained by this data set, and that is we have over here. Here, what we are doing, just let me write once again over here in front of you. We are reading data set. Okay, and what does print? Print five top rows. Okay, so with help of this one, we can print. So what are the various attributes which are holding by this one? We have the customer ID, gender, age, annual income, of course, in form of the dollars we can see, and the spending score, that is represented by the 1 to 100. So all the data we have in the proper way. Let me inform you all once again over here before moving to the next part. Just let me explain this part importantly. And I have already explained my term. Keep in mind, please keep in mind this important words. K means algorithm. K means algorithm works on continuous nature based data. Okay, so that is a point you have to keep in mind. The k-means clustering algorithm works on the continuous nature-based data. So what the portion we have over here? So you can understand what I have done over here. We have the information, just customer ID, age, annual income, and spending the score that belong to the continuous nature-based. So we can apply the. From this point, I can say. So we can easily implement such algorithm. Okay, so without any doubt, we can use. Now, after this point, what we need to do, we need to check what is the total number of the rows which are holding by the data set. So we can say total size, we can say total size of the data set, we can identify it by the very simple command, that is the df dot save. And what is df? Df is a variable which are holding the entire data. Okay, so let me show the output. So it shows that we have the 200 rows and 5 columns. Now, this point is clear. Tell me right now, you have any problem? So far, you are having any problem? So please, you can tell me right now. Yes, tell me right now, any problem you are having? Total size of the data
Excuse me,
set
sir.
can be. Yes, tell me.
So this algorithm should work on unlabeled data, right?
Mm, yes, of course.
Yeah, so in which way this data set is unlabeled? Like I can see customer ID and gender and
Yeah,
age.
yeah. That is a good question you're asking me right now. See, annual income and spending score you can measure over here. These are the two important columns which define that is a unlabeled data set. Because based on this information, we are not easily to the part that is the known information. What is the known information? What is the unknown information we have? Annual income and spending score could be the part of this one, but we need to understand what is the parameter on which we can justify. So definitely step by step we will look this matter. So definitely the you can say we see unlabeled means the output we are non-known to. The label means we know the output. What is the expected output would be. But in the clustering, what is the expected output you are doing? You are doing nothing. You are just making your data set. You are making your data set in form of the different groups. So that is the portion you from that part you need the data set, the information we have over here from the information for the given information, we need to make a group. And how we are doing that is our activity. But in the case of the regression or classification problem, so far we have covered the of course following by the supervised learning approach. In the supervised learning approach, if we have the classification, we need to check, we need to predict something, and we need to check what would be the expected values we are getting. So at that point, you know that you know the previous values. Okay, suppose we have the this X information, and based on the X information, you will get the Y information. So that is the information to be known to you. Okay, so based on that part, we can say we have the supervised learning. But from this pattern, from this point, you can say what is the information you are having right now to inform the known. No, we have the unknown information, or we can say the unlabeled data set. That is the my point right now. It is clear.
Yes, sir.
So just let me write one more word over here. Then we can say it is an unsupervised learning model. Okay, it means that we don't know where the data are lying. Okay, or output is unknown. Output is unknown. Okay, so output is unknown. When the output is unknown, or we can say label. That is the point. So when we have this kind of information, so we can say we are following the unsupervised learning. So we have just calculated the part, the total size of the data that we can get this point right now. And we need to understand what are the various columns. Suppose we have the 5 or 2, 3 columns, so we can easily see over here. But we have the n number of the columns, suppose 20 or around 20 or 15. So how we can see? So this syntax we can see. So that is point that here print or display total number of columns. Okay, these are all the simple syntax why which we need to keep in mind, and then we will move to the very important steps. So here with this point of this syntax, you can observe over here we have the important columns. Those are the customer ID, gender, age, annual income, and spending score. And now just let me know what does why this info you can observe over here. The info is just showing to us the data frame or the data what we have. Is it null or is it not a null? And what is the total number of the rows which are having by the each and every column? So the info method I can write over here the info method info method gives us the complete details. We can write complete details of the data frame. Okay, so like total number of values, okay, holding by each columns, each column and rows, we can say, okay, etc. Comma, null or non-null, etc. So we can understand this point. So we are getting the information. That is the point we can say over here. We have the total number of the entries, the total number of the rows 200. Okay, indexed by the 0 to 199, and total number of the columns we have, that is 5. Okay, so we have each and every information over here. And suppose in this case, customer ID, suppose we have the one or two null values. So automatically non-null values will be reduced by the, or we can say it is subtracted by those part. And what is the data type of the particular column? So we can see each and everything over here. It is a 64 object and so on. So why object? Because it contains the information into the classification mode only, or string by default, we can say. They are getting the information like this one. And what is the total memory which are used by two particular data sets? So that is a 7.9 KB. So this is another method by which we can easy to see. But next method where we have the describe. The describe method describes each and everything into the mathematical way. Like so, describe method I can like over here. Describe method describes the uh, mathematical values. We can say mathematical values, mathematical function values. We can say functions values. So it means what is the minimum value, what is the maximum value which are holding by the particular columns, and total we can say the average, and we have the other mathematical functions that is to be evaluated internally by the describe method. So we can see over here. Let prove here. Now you can see. So here it is easy to determine number of customer we have the 200, means we are getting the this value standard deviation. We can get this one. Minimum we have the 1 and 25%. Okay, these are the percentile, 25 percentile, 15 percentile, and 75 percentile, and maximum value we have. And in the case of the case column, total we have 200, mean 1 standard deviation. We are getting this value, mean, and so on value. Same thing we need to go for the each and every portion. But please keep in mind here what we have seen. The describe method will not doing any activity or any operation on the gender column. Why? Because it is not a integer, or it is not a numerical value based column. Okay. Portion is clear right now? Tell me, is we passed? This portion is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you want to check, suppose, of course, we have seen by the info method, there is no issue. But if you want to really check the null values, how many null values you are having, okay. So if you want to check, then what is the method by which we can check? We can check the is null method. From the data, we have the method that is null, and from the is null, we have to use along with the sum method, by which we can see how many null values which are occupied by the particular columns. So let me show. So let me execute this code right now. Then you will to understand. So customer ID does not belong to the any null value. Same gender does not belong to any null value, and age and each and everything. So no columns does not represented by the null value. So checking null values or okay, checking null values. If suppose we have the null values, so what we have to fill. We have to use a fill any method, or we have to use the drop any method. So it's up to you what the pattern you want to use to manage your null values. Okay, so that is your choice, as we have seen the previous practical sessions. So this is another method by which we can say if we have any null method. So let us check how many null values we are having. Okay, this is a good point. And suppose we have the huge number of the null values, so we can discard. It's a better idea. Okay, or it's up to you. If you want to fill, you can use a fill method. Now, any doubt so far? Please tell me right now. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So you can observe over here. I'm just moving to the my data set, which is more important part. So customer ID, okay, that would be the only ID that's holding by the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the customer ID is not usable to or represent your information for the classification for the clustering purpose. Gender is basically represented by the non-integer value. We will not use this one, but we will use this part as a for the classification clustering purpose. Of course, we can use this one. But what is the integer values of the columns on which we can make the cluster? So we have the A's, we have the annual income, spending score. So all these are the various three different columns on which we can use. So we can choose the uh, clustering based on the our two important terms. That could be the A's and annual income or A's spending score. So we can understand this problem like this one. The uh, cluster we can make based on the A's to determine what is the number of the people who are just observe or having the annual income or spending. Based on this parameter, we can do. So after understanding this point, let us understand the graph by which we can display our information graphically. So from this point, what we have, okay, from this point, what we need to do? We need to do something over here in the proper way. So first, before, yes, this one. So before using this one, let me import matplotlib. Matplot. I think we have not used the matplot. We have used a different here. So I have taken this part right now here. Yeah, I'm using this one for pattern. But because it is necessary part of matplotlib. Me and if it is optional, that's okay. Else we can use import matplotlib py as plt. Okay. Yes. So what we are doing right now, we are just displaying our information in 2D clustering based on the age and spending score. So rather than spending score, what I'm using the annual income. So here I can ask a very simple question. Just tell me what the column you want to use right now. So according to your demand, I can update my code right now. So A is annual income you want to use or A is spending score you want to use. Just tell me right now. On which column you want to use make the cluster? Tell me right now anything over here. A is annual income or A is spending score? Just tell me right now.
Agent spending score first.
Okay, so what is the name of the column? So I'm using spending score. So I need the column name as it is. Okay, so we have to use him like this one. And 2D clustering we are using by using the our this library, and we are trying to print something over here that is figure. So we have to pass the figure size. So there will be one graph size. We have the one figure size we have to use that is 15,7. Okay, and title we have the scatter plot. Okay, so I can write over here the plot, or you can do use this graph. Then you can use scatter graph. The graph of is okay, it's way of writing because it's spending score. Font size we have the 20. If you want to reduce, then you can use. In the X level, I want to use the A's because A's is would be the my independent based on I'm just making the cluster. Okay, so that is the point you have to keep in mind, and I'm just making the information over here on the my graph. So every dot value, every information which will be printed over here from the graph based on the age. What is the age? And based on the age, the our spending score will be plotted. And here we are expanding the score, and age I am taking, and I'm just changing its parameter. And yeah, the S is what S you can understand. S is means the size of the our we can say size of the marker size. Marker size means what is the plotting size of the information to be plotted. If you want to reduce, then you can reduce, no issue. But I am taking the 100. Why? Because it will be look like a bigger, so we can see each and everything properly. So spanning score we can take, of course, without any doubts over here. Let me execute this code here and let us see what we are getting. In between the code is executing, so at the last you can see we are in the x we are getting the a's, and the y we are getting the spending score. And now the graph is plotted, and the actual data, the source of the data would be df. Okay, so source of the data would be the df, that is the data set variable we have used. So here we are getting the information like this one. Is it visible to all right now? Tell me, is it visible? Is based on the age and spending score we are plotting over here. So now is it visible to all right now? Tell me, is it visible? The graph is visible to all the people. Tell me right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any doubt to understand this code? Just let me know once again how we are plotting the scatter graph. It is visible to all and it is understandable to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the portion we need to keep in mind right now? Based on the spending score, so the spending score would be lies from the 1 to 100, and there are many spending score which could be belong to the 22 values, which could be belong to different values. So based on the age criteria base, we will divide or we will make the some cluster. Okay, let us understand this point right now. Okay, so I can write. Uh, I can use some theoretical word over here. Based on spending, based on spending score, our based on age, based on age spending, spending score cluster will be generated. Okay, so you can see this is only the scatter graph and it does not show the concept right now. How you can see, how you will to understand how many clusters we are having and what are the parameter we can choose to represent our information. So from this point, it is not easy to detect. Okay, that is the point you need to keep in mind. Okay, and first let us know what is the important aspect we have. Okay, so we will need to decide right now the first one, that is the number of the cluster you can define. Okay, so based on the age spanning score cluster will be generated. So that is the point you have to keep in mind. And next step I can say, and let us first determine 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 the kth values. Okay, kth value. Okay, and that is what we can say it is a total cluster cluster size. Okay, total cluster size. And this is the important aspect. So right now, tell me any doubt over here. You have, please you can ask me right now any doubt you are having. So far everything is clear. We have used the data set. We have used the data set, and we are plotting the information based on the our two important columns right now. Yes, tell me any doubt over here. Yes, tell me any doubt over here. You have, please you can ask me right now.
No, sir, it's clear till now.
Okay, thank you. So right now that is an important part. So see, as I told you in the clustering, no need to use the training or testing data set. What is our activity? We are making the cluster of our data set. The total number of the data set we have the 200. This is the important word you need to keep in mind. So now it's time to decide cluster size. Okay. So for doing this activity, what we need to do, we need to import a means class from cluster library, as you can see at the bottom side of its statement. Library, of course, from the sklearn package. So that is the point to keep in mind. After understanding this point, we are importing our very important library. That is, we have the cluster library. From the cluster library, we have to use the k-means. Okay, so this is the important point you need to keep in mind while implement the k-means cluster. And after this point, we have to do something over here in proper way, and that is our important aspect. It requires the something in proper way, and we will see each and every step properly. So we are deciding the k. So what is the columns we have decided? Okay, so let us understand. We have chosen A's and standing score column. Okay. And now for doing this activity, so in the x values, we need to use these two values. Okay, we need to use these two values to make a cluster. And let us understand step by step, then you can understand properly. So we have chosen age and spending this code over here, and I am just updating this code according to the student demands over here. That is like over here from this value. Okay, and let me cut this right now, and let me yes. So in the x1 is a new variable which is holding the value which are managing by the age and spending score. And let me execute this code right now. What is it to be handled by the x1? And let me print the x1 values. It is to be held by the x1. It's a variable name. And after printing this information, so we must be aware about the what is the information we are holding. So keep in mind right now, just let me clear to all once again, the point we have discussed in the k-means algorithm, we need to choose a centroid. So before choosing the centroid, just let me show the my proof how many clusters we have. So without choosing the cluster size, you are not able to decide the centroid. And that is the point you have to keep in mind. Okay. So I can write this statement once again. Okay. And deciding the k values, and it is necessary to decide a value before centroid. Okay, that's the point we have discussed in the our k-means. As per the k-means algorithm. That is the point you need to keep in mind. That's why we are choosing. And let me show what is to be held by x1. So x1 contain two information. Just you can note down these values over here. That is the spending score and age. And it is holding by the two values, that is age and spending. Okay. Now this point is clear. Tell me right now. This point is clear. Any doubt you are having, please you can ask me right now.
Clear, sir.
Okay. So it's time to look at the very important point over here in the next cell what we have. And before telling to all, just let me clear over here. In our algorithm, the fundamental part, we have discussed the high class similarity features and low class similarity features, and that will be identified by as a our insertia. Insertia basically used to find the mean sum of the square distance, and from this parameter, we can determine the some error. Okay, so on that parameter we can check the performance, but here the insertion means saying to us you're talking about it means we need to decide something over here, and that can be presented by the our important variable, that is insertia. Insertia basically is a only variable. It's a user defined variable, and insertia is saying to us what is the initial cluster you want to use in proper way. So I'm just putting over here, we need to decide the class of cluster, we can say class of the clusters based on similar features. Okay, and this insertion variable will keep the information and inertia variable treats as a variable treats as a means sum of these error distance, actually not error, then distances. And these distances will keep the information what is the distance of the sum of the squared that we need to calculate by the means, and that means will be managed by the centroid. Okay, so without obtaining this information, without managing the insertia, we are not easily determine the centroid. So that is the point you have to keep in mind. If you remember the numerical part, what we have done we have used each and everything by the mean, and this is the variable which is required to follow each and everything properly. So what we are doing right now, this is the point we have done. Now next, what we need to do, we need to use a loop up to 15 times. It's up to you if you want to use it's 10 times, 5 times, 20 times. It's up to you. As I told you, when choosing the k value in optimum way, so we will try to run our code, or we will try to find the our k value between 1 to 10, as I told you while discussing the choosing the k value. So you can decide any value. So I'm deciding here the 15. If you want to extend this further, no issue. If you want to extend, then you can extend by the 25, no issue. And from the 1 to 25, 1 to 15, we need to choose the k value at what point we have the algo portion, and to decide the we have the or we need to get the optimum value. So the purpose of this point over here to get the optimum k value. Now this point is clear. Tell me right now. This point is clear. I'm using 15 times. If you want to extend 20 or 25, then you can extend. And from this pointer, okay, and by this we can get the optimum value of it. Okay, so that's why it is required. As I told you into the theoretical part, if you remember. Same thing there. Please tell me. If you want to extend, then you can extend. Okay, so under this loop, please keep in mind now the point we have to keep in mind carefully. I'm using a variable that is algorithm, that is user defined variable. This algorithm is k-means algorithm. Okay, this algorithm is k-means algorithm. If you want to update this variable by any other name, then you can update. It's up to you. So this algorithm means any variable, it's a user defined variable, and that is a point we have over here. That's the k-mean method. Okay, so here we have k-mean method. Okay, that is the important method. And let us explain this method once again. In this method, we need to pass the number of the cluster. So it will be started by the 1 to 15. Okay, so and will continue by the 1 to 15. And initially values I'm choosing over here the k means plus plus. So k means plus plus is what? Just let me speak over here, then you can understand. K means plus plus basically the initial values to decide the to decide the cluster, and that is center for the k means clustering in a smart way to speed up the convergence. Instead of this one, you can choose the any other values that could be the random value. Okay, so I can I'm just writing at the bottom side for the betterment for the purpose. See, k means plus plus means select initial uh, any initial cluster size size center, actually cluster center is better idea. Center for the k means, for the k means clustering string in a smart way to speed up convergence. So that is the point you have to keep in mind. Okay. Else, if you do not want to use this one, or if you do not want to use k-means, or instead of k-means plus plus, we can use random. So it will use a randomly. We can use a random. So it's up to you what the parameter you want to use. It's up to you, and that is the point you need to keep in mind. And number of the initialize we have the 10. So we are starting by the 10. So number of the initialize means the total number of the initial value you want to use as the initial limit. Then you can use the 10. So it's an optional parameter. If you want to use, then it's option. Maximum iteration. So how many iteration you want to use? It's a parameter. We can pass the 300. We can use any number of the iterations. Iteration. This iteration is showing to us internally iteration, which is to be managed by the clusters only. And this tool is more important point. So I can write over here. This tool is more important. The tool is not a total. Okay, this tool stands for the tolerance actually. So the number of initiate, I can say the number of time k-means algorithm will be run with a different centered seed. So that's why we have the n initiate. So that is the point we need to keep in mind. Just I am speaking once again. N initiate means the number of time k-means algorithm will be run with different centered seed. Okay, and the total, just total, not total. It's tolls means it's relative tolerance. Okay, it's a relative tolerance. So here we have very small values, and just we have only the small values, and the relative tolerance with regard to the number of the differences in the cluster centers of the two consecutive iterations. So again, it's the option parameter. If you do not want to use, then it's okay. But if you want to use, then you have to use, because there are maybe some cluster which may plot on the same point. So at a time, we need to make some little bit distinguish between the both data points to determine the its tolerance values. So relative tolerance is like this value, and with regard to the norms. Okay, that is the Frobenius norms of the differences in the cluster centers of the consecutive iterations. There is a relative tolerance, and that's why we have the small values. And although it's a negative value, it's not a countable much value, but it's required parameter. So that's one we can need to keep in mind. A random state is basically, and we can pass any random value. So it's a random state is saying to us random number of generation for the center control initialization. So we need control over initialization at the randomness, or choosing the data point and what we have decided into our actual data set. So we will see each and everything properly by the randomness. So we can choose this parameter. Again, it's option, but if you are not choosing, it's no problem. It's, you can leave this parameter. But algorithm equal to alkane is more important parameter. And now it's saying to us, if you are not using, this algorithm, basically this algorithm is basically variable name. But here the parameter algorithm equal to alkane is saying to us the algorithm is basically is a parameter, but if you are not choosing, then it reduces the auto. So you can choose auto, or you can choose fill, or alkane. So alkane, if you're choosing, so alkane decide the variance is more efficient on the data. So what the data we have, so it decide the, or alkane parameter of the algorithm decide the variation is more efficient way to well define the cluster by using the triangle inequalities. So that is the point we need to keep in mind. So that is the beauty of the alkane. So I can write over here about the alkane for your note purpose, then you can understand. Alkane means the alkane variation is more efficient more efficient on data with well defined clusters by using the triangle inequality. That's why we mostly use the alpine parameter into passing the algorithm. But if you're not passing, then by default it considered as a auto. So few parameters are optional, but we need to pass something over here. So only the parameter number of the cluster is sufficient. But we are passing something over here, so definitely we have to use. So that is the as idea. And after this point, after understanding this point, I can write this copy content like this one over here. So proper justification, just let me do. Yeah. So after this point, what we need to fit the model. So now you can observe over here, we are not fitting the model based on the data set. So on what parameter we are fitting the, so we are fitting the model based on defined parameter, based on defined parameters. Okay, so based on defined parameters as mentioned above. And now after fitting this model and what is x1 contains, so you can just observe once again what x1 contains. I'm just moving once again. X1 contains the information about the age and spending. Okay, so that's the point we need to keep in mind. So that is the we need to pass the data. So x1 is basically what we have. X1 contains the data. Okay. And in the inertia value, that is to be basically represented by the mean sum of the square distance. It appends some information, and we have to use a parameter, the algorithm. So this algorithm is basically a parameter. This algorithm basically name of the variable that we have decided over here. Okay, so algorithm equal to this one I'm highlighting. So here we have to use this parameter, that is the initialia. This is a variable name. This variable will consider into the some values that is known as the mean sum of the squared distance, and that is to be appended to the insertia part. So if you try to print some insertia value, then you will be able to understand. Just let me do this code right now. Yes, and I'm executing above. And let me see what do we handle by the inertia. So let me see. So inertia will contain all these information. Just see, we are getting all these values. So here we are getting the value, the inertia. How many times? 15 times. Okay, so this is the point we need to keep in mind. So the inertia variable holds the sum of we can say sum of the squared distance. Sum of the squared distance as per total loop size. What we have decided. Okay, so what is the loop in the loop? What we have decided? We need to calculate. Okay, so here we are getting the 15 times. Now this value is clear right now. Tell me this part is clear. What we are doing? Any doubt you are having? Please keep in mind. We are not fitting the model by our testing or training data. We are fitting the model by based on some parameters that is we have to use the cluster. Now this point is clear. Tell me right now. Any doubt to understand? I have typed each and everything over here. Just tell me right now. Any doubt? Okay. So from this point, what I need to do? I need to plot. Okay, I need to. We need to display the information. We need to display the information. Okay, so total number of the cluster and following by the inertia. So inertia means I'm speaking again with the sum of the distances. You need to keep in mind. So I'm just displaying the information of to get optimum case value. Okay. So we need to display the information to get the optimum case value. Just let me print over here. See, in this point we are passing the total of 15. So 15 why we are passing? Because 15. and initial value will be arranged by the automatically divided by the minimum to highest value into 6 different scale or six different level. So automatically decide. And in through the NP arrange. So NP means the numpy aliasing variable. By using we will arrange all the information 1 to 15, and in inertia we'll use the this symbol, and other plot we will get it by this one. So what does it print? When the we got the information, it just represented by the small circle. Okay, so a small circle used to point out the data. Okay, and it will be used for to this will be used to display each point by line. Okay, so only the line style we will see. Now let me do this code and see. Now this is a printing. Now the graph is printing properly. Just tell me right now, the graph is printing properly, and is it visible
Yes.
to all? Okay, now here just let me once again to clear over here the inertia. You can see 2,500 to say 1,75,000 we have. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have divided some different levels on which we have the information. So we can pass the 0 to it divided 0 to 6 and then automatically it's level, and 15 we have 1 to 15. So we got this information. Now, before moving to or before explaining any idea, just let me right now once again at what point we are having the kth value as a optimum value. Just tell me any value. Having seen this graph, can anyone tell me at what point we are getting the our information? Just tell me right. What is the kth value? So I need the answer
4,
for.
sir.
So when we have the kth value equal to 4, or if you want to check at the kth value equal to any values, so what we will use the same code as we have used to understand this point right now. Okay, this is an important point. That is, this is the code. So what I'm doing nothing. I'm just doing nothing. I'm using the same parameter. I'm just instead of the n, I will pass the n value 4. So applying the k means 4. Why? Because you have been observed here that k equal to 4 is the optimum value. Okay, so I now apply k means for the k. So in the algorithm, okay, what I'm passing, I'm just changing its k value and nothing. Rest of the thing I'm just leaving as it is. Okay, and now I'm fitting the model. Okay, so I can fit over here. Okay, again fit the model towards k equal to 4, and here we have the some information which are holding by the labels. Okay, so labels determine the some information. See, this information determines the what the total number of the information we have represented by the 200. Okay, so in this portion we need to keep in mind each and every information following by the above this part right now. So if you want to print the label, then you can able to understand, and from this point we need to decide the centroid. Okay, see, label is the optional parameter. If you want to use, then it's okay, as you can remove it. But here here it's time to decide centroid 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 of the cluster, centroid of the clusters, center of the cluster, and we got equal to force. It defines it cluster size. We can say total number of cluster we can have cluster equal to 4. Can we say A level is optional, so if you want to remove, then you can remove. It's nothing is optional. It just represents the information only the some value, initial values. At what level the center will be initialized. So it's optional, but I'm just removing unnecessary, so no need to use this part. So no need to use this part.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, tell me right now.
Sir, this process which you use to find out the number of clusters as 4, is this the one which you told you will explain, the elbow method?
Yes, of course, of course. See, that's why I told you the album method is the best method in the theoretically. I told you. So definitely, as it was my promise, we will implement the album method simultaneously. So we are implementing by this method, we are getting the what would be the optimum value of the key. So from this album method, we are able to see. So I'm using the graph-based information today because the graph will show the information proper way. Then you will be able to understand at what point we have the alloying. So at the k equal to 4, we are alloying. But if you see k equal to 2 is a better, so you can choose no problem. According to your demand, you can update this code right now. That's why I asked this question. At what point we have the alloying? Okay, so you can observe k equal to 2, but you have the k equal to 2, so I can update, no problem. According to you, I'm just following the instruction already, but what the syntax I'm using, that is a more important part. So now I'm fitting my model again towards the k equal to 2, and it's time to decide the center of the clusters. That is, we got the k equal to 4. It means cluster size would be the 4. Now this point is clear. Tell me right now, or if you want to choose any other value of the k, tell me right now.
Clear, sir.
This is clear. Okay. So let us check what is the centered value we are getting. So let us check. Centroids not defined. Okay, name centroid is not defined. I think it's already centroid is. Let me check. Centered one is not defined, but it's defined. So working in the. Oh, centered require the labels actually. Okay. So because without label, it's not easy. Just let me check. Yeah. So label is required because internally in the label some information to be updated. So its label is required. Just stop this. Okay. And let me show them my proof by the labeling. Labels. What is to be handled by the labels? Label is just displaying the our information over here. Then you will be able to see over here. And what is the size of the label? Just let me show my proof. It should be 200 because total number of data we have the 200. So we are getting a 200. Okay. So label is required part to connect with the each and every data point. So I can write over here properly. So this is a required part required to get Centroid to uh, connect or we can say the connect to make a connection between centroid and data point. Okay, so this is the important point, and this is to be added over here. Okay, so internally it is added by the ORS algorithm. Value will be updated by the its level, and with the help of the label, the cluster will be generated. So I'm just doing nothing. I'm just printing its value. Let me execute once again. Printing. So we are getting some values, and these values can be say these values will be identified by in terms of the some values, and that is to be measured by the some distances, of course. Okay, so after this point here we are getting the centered, so centered we are getting, and after executing this code we need to move to next part. But before moving to next part, just let me know from your part right now. So far, any doubt you are having, please you can ask me right now.
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So after this point, I'm using an important concept right now. So far, that is important point we need to keep in mind. Just so far, we have used x1 variable. If you remember, x1 variable, x1 variable, which contain, which contains is and spanning score. Okay, right over here, spanning score. And now, as we know, and as we know, it is a 2D, it is 2D array. Okay. So whenever we need to update or we need to transform our information one dimension array to 2D array to one dimension array, so we have this concept right now. Okay. So for doing this, we need to transform 2D to one dimension array by using Favel method. That is an important method you need to keep in mind, and that is to be part of the NP, or we can say NumPy. So here H would be the one factor, that would be the H factor, and this factor is required to transform for the uniformity. Okay, this is required. Is required to make uniform. Okay. Uniformity. Okay. Between x and y axis. Okay. This is this concept we can understand when we need to transform any object into the 1D to 2D or 2D to 3D. So at the time it is required. So that's why I'm just taking this concept right now, and it's necessary part. So we can choose any negligible value, that is 0.02. If you want to write 0.07, any value 0.00 and so on, so, but that should be some values. So h would be represented by the some part, and x minimum, x max we will count by the its x minimum value. So what is x minimum value? We can choose from the 0. 0 is would be our a's. Okay, and this will be represented by the a's. And y min, that is to be represented by the, if you remember, the spanning score. Okay, and by using these two parameters, we have the two different variables x double y with help of the masquerade. See, masquerade is basically I can write over here, then you can understand. We need to use masquerade method from NumPy to get or use to create pairs of coordinates between a range. And what is the range? You have been observed over here, minimum and maximum, as we have seen above. Okay, so that is the point. This is the point you need to keep in mind. So you can write like this one. So this is the point by which we can pass in. So that is the point. So masquerade is required, and with this point, we need to predict something into the JAD, and this JAD is required. See, in this JAD is required when we need to use this information to the 3D manner. But here we are using our information in the 2D manner, but we need to keep in mind this information to print our information into the graphical way, and that is the required part. So see, in the graph we have the 2D our information available in 2D manner, and we need to understand this information that is to be represented by the 3D manner. What 3D manner means? How we can understand, how we can classify our information based on the two different parameters. Our output will be of course 2D, but we can understand by the clustering way, by the clustering way. So for clustering it is required. For the clustering it is required. So I'm using the match-kit method I've written over here, and based on this parameter, Z value is to be predicted. So this would be value is to be predicted based by using the Ravel method. And what is the Ravel method? I've already explained into the above parts. So see, I can write over here for clustering. We need to make our graph into dimension pattern. I can say this is a word which is better, dimension pattern, to get proper cluster. Okay, proper clusters. So that's why it is required. And I'm printing something over here. So let me do this code right now. Now you will be able to see, and what is value to be held by the Z variable. So that's why I've written over here. And let me print the size of Z. What is the size which is holding by? This is the, that is it is biggest size, because it contains the information along with the each and every X value. So in dimension pattern, it is holding by the maximum value. But only for showing purpose, I have given over here. So I'm not displaying anything over here, and it's showing the predicted values. Okay. And so Z contains the predicted information. So it's just only the for displaying purpose I'm taking only. So I shown my idea. What is the value we are having? It's two huge value, but it is this value that is represented by the size. It means more how many distances we have from the connected by each and every distances. Now see, suppose we have the 4 cluster, and we have decided in these 4 clusters we have the 4 centroid, and each and every centroid will be connected by the our 200 data points. So 200 with the 4, so we have the approx right now 800, and we need to calculate the distance from each and every data point. So total number of the calculation will be in high volumes. That's why we have the Z volume in high volume. It's only displaying purpose. So it's an optional part. So but I just shown to the my proof what is the value to be held by the Z. Right now I have executed this code right now. Tell me any doubt over here? Tell me right now any doubt over here? In this code,
No,
okay. And at the last, see, this is very interesting part over here, and it is very important part. So by using the plot graph, I just need to plot my size of the my clustering, how my cluster will look like. So I'm using this part right now, and with the print CLF. What is the print CLF? Okay, PLT CLF. So it will clear the graph from existing uh, existing pattern what we have used doesn't mean. So CLF especially is not a classifier, it is a clear the graph. Okay, so clear the frame. Okay, we can say it stands for clear the frame. Okay, and we need to reshape the Z. Okay, we need to reshape the shape towards the X. Okay, so that's why it will fit to or fit represent the information. So it is required. It is required towards the X, and we are changing its size towards the X. You can see this is the way. And with help of the IMG show, IMShow. So IMShow is a method which displays the information into the graphical way in different colors automatically. We are not doing anything. So IMShow is a method, and we need to pass the Z, and we have to use some parameter. Those are the interpolations. So in the interpolation, we can use the nearest or farthest, what you want to use. And the extent we are passing the minimum value, and we are passing the maximum value. And same thing we need to go for the this part by minimum or by maximum, as we have seen outside. So this is the required part. We can't say it is an optional part. It is required part. And CMap is saying to us with the help of the plot and CM. So color map, what you want to use. In the color map, we are using the pastel 2. Instead of the pastel 2, you can use the pastel 1 or dark thing, what you want. So it automatically adjusts the color we have as according to the parameter passing. So it's only the displaying purpose we can use. And aspect is automatically adjust its resolution automatically. And suppose we have a huge amount data set, so automatically graph size will be adjusted its value inside the figure size, that is the 15 and 7 we have mentioned about. And the origin will be started by the lower, so it's up to you what you want to use. You can use any origin, it's upper, but it's the optional parameter. But I'm choosing as it is. And what is the information you want to plot? That is and information in spending. I just need to copy that part. Spending score. So spending score we need to use, not the annual. So I need to update this part right now. I need to update this part right now. I'm updating. And a data will be the from our actual data set. And C basically stands for the color of the sequence of the colors. Okay, the color of the sequence, or we can say the color of the markers that will be represented by. And what are the color that is to be EC? This is represented by the label one. So label one, which are holding some values, that is to be plotted over the part. And as it basically represents the size of the marker. Marker means what is the dotted, what is the information that is to be displayed over here into different colors, that is to be represented by the its size. We can choose smallest size, that is could be 1, or we can choose a maximum size, it's your choice. And with respectively, some we need to display some centered values. So centered values we are using the it's from this parameter centered as we have decided above. And we need to pass its x and y values. So according to the coordinates value, it will be printed over the or displayed over our graph. And same thing, we are just need to use centered size should be the maximum to represent different way. So we are using the 300, and if you want to use the 500, then you can use. And here we have the red color, so centered should be represented by the red color. So we have, and its opacity, or we can say it is a transparency, how many opaque or transparency what is required. So we can use the 0.5. The range should be 0 to 1 only. And same thing, label, that is a spending score and its age. And finally, I'm just printing this part through this. I'm sure important part we need to keep in mind. So my graph will look like this one. See, you can see each and every data points are separated by over here by different color, and that is the reason which are coming by the jet. So this is the beauty of the jets. We have produced some information over here. Now see, this graph is visible, and this red is basically represented by the centroid. And how many cluster we have? You can observe 1, 2, 3, 4. Now is it clear to all right now? So everything is visible to all right now. Tell me right now, everything is visible. Yes, tell me right now.
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Okay, I hope the graphical way I have used today, that is the important part. So see, I can sort out this problem within the very small chunk of the code. No issue, you can understand. But really, what we are getting, that is the important part by which the graphical way we can understand. So now, suppose student saying to me, "Sir, no, I do not like this one. Cluster size should be the 4. According to the his or her requirement, cluster size should be 2. Am I right? Am I right? You want to see this part? Cluster size should be 2 or 4. Or just tell me any value of the cluster size now. I can update. Just tell me right now. Any value.
5, sir.
Okay, so 5. So what I just need to update, I need to use same code, and I need to update cluster size to 5, and just copy that code over here. And to understand the concept, same parameter I'm doing, I'm not changing my previous code right now. I'm just keeping the code over here as it is. So cluster size I'm changing by 4 to 5. Okay, now let us see. It is executing, no issues. And same parameter I'm using, I'm printing, and I'm also printing the once again the same part. And now see, here we need to pass something that is should be spending score. Okay, so I'm using this parameter. Let us check everything is okay. Everything is okay. Here I need to pass the this one. Okay. Now let me. Now you can observe over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have the 5 clusters. Now each and every belong to the centers. Now is it visible to all right now? Tell me, is it visible? So how?
Yes, sir.
So as according to your demand, you can update your code right now, no issue. Okay, if you want to move to the cluster size just like 10, okay, no problem. We can extend. It's our choice. We can extend, no problem. So from this next graph, definitely is showing. See, you can see the now 10 cluster. Now each and every pulling by the 10 different standards. Now you can see. So we have the beautiful part right now. Okay, no problem. It's up to you. If you want to update by the 5, then you can update. Suppose I'm making the cluster of 2, no issue, I can make. It's my choice. Okay, that makes sense. See, we have the 2 cluster size. Now, is it visible to all right now? Tell me, is it visible to all?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, so it's up to you. It's up to you at which point you want to know the K value optimum. So first, before displaying, before getting the cluster or each and everything, we need to define the first cluster size. And allow method is the best method by which we can do. So this is the idea I've shared with you right now. Okay, at the last, I can explain the some more interesting part. So within 2 or 3 minutes, you can understand. Suppose you want to see the graph by the 3D way. So I have the same. I'm using same data set. At the last, I'm showing the my proof. See, I'm executing this code. I'm not doing anything over here. From this point, you want to just tell me right now at what point we have the kth value in better way. Just tell me what is the kth value of the way we have the 654. Any other value? What is the value of the kth? I must choose as an optimum value.
4, sir.
Which one? 7, 4, 2, 3. I've taken the previous 6, but if you want to update, then I can update. Just tell me right now. Any
It's
value?
okay, sir.
It's
Understood.
okay. Okay. So from this point, what I'm doing right now, I'm using very important class that is over here, the py, and plotly. Okay, so this is another graph. Previously, it was not part of, it was not installed on my laptop. So I've installed this library, and I'm showing the my output by the 3D manner. That is the beauty. Okay. Just let me know where we have the matrices and cluster. Tolerance is not cluster, so Alan we have the over here cluster where we are getting the words. Okay, so here we need to use. Okay, just let me see. Which points we are getting of color. Okay, color. So I can check. Let me check what is the output we are getting. I've tried to plot this graph over here that is flowing by the 3D manner. It takes some time, but after some times you will be able to see what we are getting. Yeah. So now graph is available to 3D manner. So now it is visible to all the graph. Tell me right now it is visible. Just tell me right now the graph is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see this is 3D graph. So if I'm moving like this one now, I'm moving. It is visible to all right now. I'm moving this graph, and it's a 3D graph, so I can see its each and every point. And what are the 3 important parameters we have used to implement our part? Those are the age, income, and spending score. And I'm using same data set. Now this is the code which shows the to represent your information by the 3D manner. It's visible. You can easily see your data points. Now, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can utilize this code to represent information into the 3D manner.